Hello, welcome to Tony's Tales. I'm your story reader, Tony Parkins, and I'm here today with a story for my younger readers and listeners. It's by Margaret Mahy, and it's entitled The Downhill Crocodile Whizz. Are you sitting comfortably? Then I shall begin. One day, a small crocodile received an unexpected present for his last birthday but one. It was from his grandmother, who was away somewhere leading a very sprightly life of her own. The crocodile felt the parcel all over, trying to guess what might be inside it. "She sent me shoes," said the crocodile in a slightly disappointed voice. But it was not shoes. It was a pair of roller skates and a letter. "Dear grandson," said the letter, "I am sending you my old roller skates because I am giving up skating and taking up hang gliding instead. Look after these skates very well, won't you, because they are very good ones. On these very skates, I won the Ladies All-In Skating Championship of Orinoco. I am afraid you will never be the skater that I am, but you might as well have a go. Happy birthday for your last birthday but one, your devoted grandmother." Then at the very end of the letter, it said PTO, which stands for Please Turn Over. But the crocodile did not notice this. "What does she mean I'll never be the skater she is?" he cried. "Great grangle knuckers, as if I couldn't skate better than an old woman crocodile of 92. He dropped the letter and began studying the skates. "I see, you strap them onto your paws. Simple." He put the skates on straight away and stood up very confidently. Then he had to stand up all over again. Next, he shot across the room and found he was lying on his back with the skates in the air. "Funny," mused the crocodile. "I wonder how that happened." At last, he managed to stand up and stay standing up, balancing cleverly with his tail. "There you are. Easy," said the crocodile in a rather bruised voice. "Now I'm going to have a go outside. Somehow I have the feeling I'm going to be a singularly splendid skater." As it happened, the crocodile lived at the very top of a very steep hill. There was absolutely nowhere to go in any direction but down. So the crocodile pointed his feet in his grandmother's skates in the direction of down, simply to have a go. Whizz! Off he went, balancing majestically with his fine tail. "It's easy," thought the crocodile. "I don't know what all the fuss is about. The skates do it all for you." He went faster and faster. Whizz! A little girl called Katie was sitting in front of her garden on a tricycle. Her mother had told her never to go out of the gate because of the steepness of the hill outside, but when she saw the crocodile going past, she couldn't resist joining in too. "Whizz!" went the crocodile. "Whizz!" went Katie. "Oh, isn't this fun?" yelled Katie. "I'll stop when you do." "I don't think I'll be stopping for a while," the crocodile cried in an anxious voice. "I've just found out these skates aren't the sort of skates that have brakes." They went faster and faster. 2 dogs were pulling a rubbish bag to pieces, but they stopped to watch Katie and the crocodile go past. "Ah, they're having fun," barked Black Dog. "Hurr, hurr. Let's go along, shall we?" said Spotted Dog. "This rubbish bag is a very disappointing one." So the two dogs joined in too, wagging their tails and waving their tongues as they ran. Whizz! Whizz! Wag! Wag! When they were further down the hill, they came across rich old Mr. Whisker, tucked into his wheelchair, being wheeled across the footpath to his car by his dashing nurse, who was called Nurse Frolic. A chauffeur was holding the car door open and bowing, but unfortunately, as Katy and the crocodile whizzed by, they brushed against the wheelchair, which spun around 3 times, then joined them in the downhill whizz and wag procession. "Isn't this fun?" Katy called to Mr. Whisker. "Hooray! Here we go!" he shouted most enthusiastically. "Isn't this fun?" Katy called to Mr. Whisker. "Hooray! Here we go!" he shouted, most enthusiastically, glad to get away from Nurse Frolic and the chauffeur, who were both very bossy, and always said they were only bossy for his own good. "I'm going to stop when the crocodile stops," shouted Katy. "Yeah, so am I," agreed Mr. Whisker. These crocodiles know a thing or two." "I won't be stopping immediately," mumbled the crocodile, desperately balancing with his tail for all he was worth and making circles in the air with his short front legs. "Isn't he clever?" yapped Black Dog. "Oh, yes," panted Spotted Dog. "He keeps pretending he's going to fall over, and then he never quite does." They went faster and faster, while behind them, shouting and yelling, ran Katy's mother, Nurse Frolic, and the chauffeur. About halfway down the hill, they came upon Mrs. Harris leaning out of the window and telling her husband which apples to buy at the greengrocer's. She was holding their baby, a fine boy named Samson. "No, not the green ones," she was saying, "and not the very red ones." But then she heard a whizzing sound and saw the crocodile, Katy, Mr. Whisker, Black Dog, Spotted Dog, 13 wheels and 8 paws, all speeding towards her. She got a terrible fright. "Oh!" she screamed and dropped the baby. But luckily, as the crocodile shot under her window, waving his short little arms, he just happened to catch little Samson and carried him off at great speed. Whizz went the crocodile and Samson. Whizz went Katy. Whizz went Mr. Whisker. Wag wag went Black Dog. Wag wag went Spotted Dog. "Stop! Stop! Stop!" shouted Katy's mother, Nurse Frolic, the chauffeur, and the Harrises, who joined in, running faster than the others because they were so upset to see their baby carried off by a crocodile. A brass band in a bus turned into the road on its way down to the park at the bottom of the hill, where it was going to play that very afternoon. "Look! A downhill crocodile whiz!" exclaimed the bandmaster, leaping from his seat and reaching for his baton. "Let's give them a bit of an pa. Ready, boys? Pretissimo accelerando." The band began to play Land of Hope and Glory. With all the pretissimo and accelerando that our heart could desire. They opened the windows for the trombones, and the driver speeded up a little bit so that they could keep up with the crocodile, who by now was going downhill very fast indeed. Up in a tall building in the heart of the city, a military man called General Confusion was pacing up and down impatiently. Every now and then he looked out of the window, swore, and went back to his impatience and his pacing. It was years and years and years since there had been a war, and he was very cross about it. He had been a grand uniform and a whole army for years, and absolutely nothing had happened. Then, as he looked out of the window, he thought he saw something ominous whizzing down the hill, as if it were about to launch an attack on the park gates. "Enemies, at last!" shouted General Confusion. "We are being invaded!" Then he took his brass bugle, leaned out of the window, and blew a gallant blast on it. Out rushed the majors and the captains and the sergeant majors and the ordinary soldiers, all armed with bazookas and blunderbusses and ready for battle and bloodshed. "Forward!" shouted the general. "Defend the bottom of the hill! Protect the gates of our lovely civic park!" As one soldier, the army charged towards the bottom of the hill. "There goes the army," everyone said. "There's going to be a battle." There was great excitement, and everyone held up their babies and aged parents so that they could get a good view too. Whizz went the crocodile. He was going so fast that he was absolutely numb with terror. Katy followed behind him, and everyone just after her. "Aren't you ever going to stop?" Katy shouted to the crocodile. Said the crocodile. "Look at him!" yelled Mr. Whisker, waving his hearing aid with admiration. "He's skating on one foot. Now he's skating on..." What?" cried General Confusion, suddenly noticing the baby. "He saved the life of our little Samson. What a spirited croc! What a croc! What a crackerjack croc!" For Mr. Harris before, she had been married. For Mrs. Harris before, she had been married. Mr. Harris had been the beautiful Miss Confusion, the General's own daughter, and so Samson was the General's own grandson. So the unexpected downhill crocodile Whizz became an unexpected park party. Everyone had a lovely time, including the babies and the aged parents. The band played fit to burst, and the General pinned one of his medals onto the crocodile's waistcoat. Mr. Whisker, who was very rich, said he would pay to have a bronze statue put up in the park showing the crocodile balancing on one skate and catching baby Samson in his short little arms. Then Mr. and Mrs. Harris took Samson home, and General Confusion took the army home. Katy's mother took Katy home. Nurse Frolic and the chauffeur took Mr. Whisker home, and the band took their bassoons and trombones home, and everyone else took their babies and aged parents and went home too. But there was nobody to take the crocodile home. After slapping him on the back and waving goodbye, everybody left the crocodile standing in his grandmother's skates in the golden evening light. "That's all right," he thought. I skate home. It won't take long." But he couldn't skate home. It was uphill all the way. He had to walk uphill on his short little legs. Black Dog and Spotted Dog went with him most of the way, but then they saw a very promising rubbish bag and forgot about the crocodile, who was all plodding and slow now. He wasn't nearly as much fun going uphill as he had been coming down. At last the crocodile staggered in through his own front door at the very top of the hill, dead beat, dog-tired and done for. He collapsed into a chair and sat still for a long time. just breathing and blinking, breathing and blinking, breathing and blinking. And that's all he was doing. Then he noticed grandmother's birthday letter still on the table. And he saw at the very end of the birthday letter she had written PTO, which, as you know, means please turn over. So the crocodile picked it up and PTO'd. Dear grandson, his mother and grandmother. Dear grandson, his grandmother had written on the other side of the page, whatever you do, watch out for hills. There's a few little... Dear grandson, his grandmother had written on the other side of the page, whatever you do, watch out for hills. Your loving grandmother. The end.